Hi, welcome back to Forbidden Grief with Sue Elliott. I am Sue, my angel coach, and this is Delores Garcia, Miguel's mom. And Delores is feeling a little sensitive.
No, Dolores is feeling like hypersensitive, like everything, everything is like super exaggerated, and yeah, it's a crazy kind of experience. And Sue, we're coming up on the 100th day anniversary of the event.
And we're just
And
a little bit past the 3-month anniversary too, right?
right,
So how,
right.
when you say everything, what are you sunlight, wind, people's voices, like literally everything?
It kind of feels like that, to tell you the truth, is that, um, and nothing feels right. Nothing feels good, and it's such a disconcerting place to be, and yeah, it makes me feel unstable. Like I had texted you, and I'm like, yeah, I feel unreliable. I feel overwhelmed. I feel exhausted. Like I've been laying in bed almost 2 days. And so when you texted me this morning, I'm like, okay, that's the lifeline to get out of bed. It's okay to rest. And but gosh, can you stay there all the time?
Well, I'm sure you could, and I'm sure part of you would like to.
Yeah.
Does it feel like it's your inner child who wants to hide under the covers?
No, it actually doesn't. She actually wants to go and do something. And like it's beautiful weather. And she's like, come on, let's go hiking. We've waited all summer. And it feels like not to be dramatic, but it feels like the inner warrior is tired.
Well, and that makes sense. If you've been hypervigilant and on high alert, your inner warrior would be exhausted.
Yeah.
That totally makes sense.
Yeah.
So, how can we help? Ask us one of your magical questions.
So let's talk about, because I think that this is where the question is. I think I'm mostly tired because, when it feels futile, it makes you even more tired. If you have the hopefulness that it's either going to have an end or have a reason or a benefit, instead of just being in that swirl. So, was it yesterday that stabbing happened at Purdue University, or the
A
day
couple
before?
nights ago, yeah.
Okay, so if people haven't heard of that, and I only read it briefly, and I think that is a little bit of what triggered my tiredness. Is that there was a roommate at Purdue that fatally stabbed his roommate. Is that what the story is? Do you
I
know anything
don't
more
think
than that?
I don't think they were sure. Last I saw, they weren't sure that it was the roommate who did it. He is a suspect, and he is the one who called it in.
Right. Right. Okay, so anyway, somebody died, and it just happened to be the same weapon that my son used on his dad. And so I didn't really feel triggered at the moment that I read that. My heart really hurt for everybody involved, and I tried to sympathetically and energetically go to every mom in that situation, and that's where I got really exhausted. Yeah. So I guess that the question is, what am I doing? what what is happening? And how can I help?
Yeah. Yeah, and so this is such a great conversation because there's some real nuance here. So, as a sensitive being and as an empathic being already, it's very easy for you to feel the pain of others. And as we can see, that can be debilitating.
Yeah.
Feeling other people's pain and suffering can, land you in bed for a couple days or longer. And that sensitivity is also a gift. That empathy, that profound empathy is a gift. And so how do you use it in a way that doesn't drain you, literally suck the life out of you, but that's in service to you and to everyone else or anyone else for that matter? And so we love that you're bringing this today because it's so perfect. It's so empathy is clearly what the planet is asking for, compassion and kindness and unconditional self-love and love of others. And that's where the nuance comes in. So when you open your heart and you reach out and you sort of unconditionally allow in whatever is going on out there, as a sensitive and an empath, and I speak from vast personal experience in the same space, right? It's very easy to feel other people's pain and suffering. So it matters where we're coming from when we open up and we reach out. So when I'm coming from a place of feeling great pain, I am very likely to tune into more great pain that's out there. And when I come from a space of unconditional self love first, I nourish and nurture myself. My inner warrior is fatigued, or my inner child is scared and hurt. When I tend to those aspects of me or any other aspects of me first, and then I open up with an open heart and compassion, then I can be in service in a way that's first in service to me and not detrimental to me, and in service to others. How does that land?
Um, it it helps me feel better about really, I mean, really, literally having nothing to, like, no energy. And I was going to say nothing to give, but that wasn't really true. Is that I just wanted to lay down. That's all I wanted to do, and so it makes me feel better that I did it right. That I was like, yeah, that was really how I was feeling, and allowing myself to be there. And because I was kind of like, shit, Delores, get out of bed. And I was like, nah, man, I just don't want to. I just,
Well, and let's talk about that too, because it may have sounded a second ago like, you were doing it wrong. You reached out when you were hurting and therefore you landed yourself in bed. But what if what was most in service was being self-care, being self-compassion, being taking the rest in service to those who were not able to do it? So as proxy, by putting that into the collective, putting profound self-care, putting listening to what your body said she needed and actually doing that into the collective. When most of us have been taught and really pride ourselves on overriding what our body is asking for, pushing through, right? Um, so for those moms who are hypervigilant, on high alert, stressed beyond measure, exhausted, you being able to rest and to nourish yourself is a gift to them. Since we are all one being, we are all connected.
yeah, yeah. And there's just like so much. Um, we're revisiting this topic, Sue. There's so much guilt and self condemnation. Like I wasn't doing anything. And yet That was exactly what I needed to do. And so you don't even get to enjoy that rest 100%. Because you're trying to squelch that guilt of, this is really what I need to do. And I was thinking about, there was this little whisper to me of when my mom passed. That was a good 23 years ago almost. And he was just little. He was like 2. Alejandro wasn't even born yet. And I was with my mom while she was passing for those last 2 weeks. And when I got home, it was whispered to me to explain it to Hector like, I have the flu. Some days will be better. I don't know how long it'll take me to get done with the flu. And I just need to rest. And so I had this little 2-year-old, and I think I was only teaching one class at the university. And so I could kind of muffle my way through that. And it was a stroke of brilliance. I mean, it was divine intervention to help me understand that is like, you can't make yourself get over the flu. You cope with the symptoms, and the flu will pass when the flu passes. And Sue, how many people I have told that nugget to when they have had a loved one pass? I was like, you got the flu. And you know what? You're going to get a headache. You're going to get a stomach ache. You're going to get the body aches whenever they come. And then you go lay down, and you don't feel bad. You don't feel guilty for having the flu. You just have the flu. And so I was reminded of that. And I was like, I did kind of fight against it, though, the last couple of days. I was like, no, I'm better than that.
Aren't we cute? And it reminds me of how many people go on vacation and immediately get sick because they have such profound programming that says you should be productive. And the only time you're allowed to not be productive is when you're sick. So therefore, when they're on vacation, they have to be sick.
Yeah.
It's this weird. So let's just dissolve that programming within our space.
Yeah.
So the first thing the angels want to do is give you divine permission to rest. Give you permission to regroup and to take care of yourself. It is beyond important. It is vital that we take good care of ourselves, that we give ourselves permission to have downtime, to rest. Those of us who've been workaholics understand what it feels like to need to work all the time. And it's part of the slavery programming on the planet. So they also want to dissolve that and all of the things that go with it. Idle hands are the devil's helpers and all of that. There's actually a tradition in Japan of reflection at work. And many management consultants have pointed to this now, because when we keep pushing forward, and we never stop and reflect on what we've done, how it's worked, how it could have worked better, we lose that opportunity to be more effective, to be more, whether it's about being more efficient or it's being more compassionate or less draining of ourselves and others, better use of our resources, including our time and our energy. Like that downtime, that quiet is incredibly valuable. It's exactly like a field that needs to lie fallow for a season to be really fertile again. It's exactly like the analogy of us living with the seasons, where during winter we rest and we're quieter, and then in spring we feel that impulse to create again. How does that feel?
So much better. And my academic training is as a health educator, and like all of a sudden it's like like it was it I knew it, but I didn't appreciate it to the depth that I'm appreciating it now. Is that you so many people seek health, and it's like, wow, it's almost like the secret sauce is being able to um, give yourself permission and allow yourself to 100% be quiet and to rest, and that it is that's a gift. Yeah.
And the other part of it that the angels really wanna share with people is that many people in our culture are busy, partly because it's a badge of honor, right? "I am so busy." "No, I'm so busy," right? Like, it's part of the, "I'm a contribution to society, I'm a good mom, I'm a good worker, whatever, I'm so busy." But even beyond that, there's this dread fear of being with ourselves, of slowing down enough and not distracting ourselves with our phone or the TV, binge watching something or going out to the bar to have a few drinks with friends to blow off steam, like whatever it is that we do to distract ourselves, though, that we don't have that time of reflection and introspection. Because so many of us are terrified of what we're going to see when we go there. And we can all imagine how terrified we would be if we were in your shoes and going there, right? To look into. So tell us, because I know that this has been a time of great introspection and reflection for you. What has it been like to go there? Was it terrible darkness?
Maybe at the beginning because of the regrets and the shoulda, coulda, wouldas. And uh, but now it's very peaceful. And I think that that's a little part of the hypersensitivity, is because um, I would just rather be quiet and alone with my own thoughts and my own self and Hector and Miguel and Alejandra. And so the hypersensitivity, I think, is a little part of that, of like, wow, everything is so chaotic out there that I just want to cocoon. But before, as I began um, my own personal journey of transformation and coming to know even a glimpse of my true self, coming from a very deep seated mindset of self-loathing and self-hatred, it was hard to go in, because I from the outside, like there was just such hatred and disdain for myself. And so to go in, yeah, that was a walk of faith, because I was like, wow, it looks like shit on the outside. I'm sure it's even worse on the inside. So it was a huge walk of faith. But I was searching for an answer, and I will tell everyone that just walk through the gate. That's the hardest part. That's the scariest part. The gate of the unknown, but without hesitation, reservation, there is a guarantee of understanding the beauty of who you truly are. So if you could take my guarantee of a wonderful destination, because it's guaranteed, it is guaranteed. And so the hardest part for me was just facing the unknown, the risk that it was as awful as I was afraid it was awful, and then getting on the path, and you're like, oh, dude, this is so amazing. Yeah, like I love myself. I love being Delores. And yeah, that kind of feels weird coming out of my mouth a little bit. But you know what? Like I do. Like I do love myself. I love being Delores.
And that is so awesome. And
Yeah.
And the path there, just to reiterate and underscore for everybody, the path there is to go inside, is to take that scary first step and second step and third step. And the angels want to say it this way. It's not like when you're watching the mystery or the horror movie and the heroine or whatever opens the door to the basement and goes down the dark stairway. Like it seems like it's gonna be like that, and you're going,
Yeah.
"Don't go there, don't go there."
Yeah.
But what was it really like? Did it feel like that, or what did it feel like for you
Um,
once you took those first steps? Where did you find yourself?
I really mostly found myself behind all of the programs that you and the angels dissolved. I mean, and all of the preparatory work up to the point of meeting you, um, you know what it felt like? It felt like it was self love in spite of how awful you are. That's what it used to feel like. So there used to be such a contradiction, is that I need to love myself even though I see things that I hate about myself. And you're like, dude, I just can't get that equation. And uncon- unconditional love, which is really the only true love there is. If it's not unconditional, then it's not really love. But when we start seeing conditions or things that we don't like or that we hate and despise about ourselves, then it prohibits the self-love, the true love of self, because that's not who I love. Dude, do I make a lot of choices that I would not repeat? Yeah, I do. And do I um, try to do differently in the future, in the current moment? Yes, I do. But self love is based on something totally different than my actions. So I don't know if that answers the question. So ask the question again, because I get all flighty.
Well, but that was so beautiful and so perfect because self-love is regardless of what you're doing, what you have done, who you've been, who you're becoming. Unconditional self-love is I love myself, period. And I love all aspects of myself, even those parts of myself that I was told were wrong or bad, too much or not enough.
Mhm.
I can hold all of that and I can be with that with love. And that's what creates the freedom to be and do differently in the future. When we're trapped in self judgment and self criticism, we're trapped in the trauma triggers. And so we keep, reenacting the same play over and over again. Then the minute we start to show up with that profound self love, the unconditional self love, it becomes an improv. And we can go off script and we can say something different and we can be something different. And those programs can dissolve and we can dissolve those programs as well by
Mhm.
choosing differently. So, whatever it is that's making me judge this part of myself, I'm asking the angels to dissolve that judgment. Whatever it is that happened in my past or that I was told or that I saw that is causing me to criticize, condemn, try to suppress or hide or shame or guilt this part of myself, I'm giving it to the angels and letting them dissolve all of that programming. Anything in the way of me knowing, being, receiving, and perceiving that I am a divinely created, unique being. And therefore, it's not a question of worthiness or deservedness. How can the divine not be worthy and deserving? It's just those parts and pieces of myself that I've tried to stick on to be what other people said I should be, that maybe I could let go of now. It's just maybe those masks I was wearing, those belief systems I picked up that aren't authentic to me. So I'm going to let all those go. I'm going to give all that to the angels. And I'm going to let them dissolve it, not in one fell swoop, which again might land me in bed because it's exhausting to pull all that stuff out of your system at once. And the angels are very gentle. So I'm going to let the angels start to dissolve that out of my system slowly in divine perfect timing so that every day life gets a little bit easier. Every day I feel a little bit more loving toward myself. Every day I can be a little bit more appreciative of my body telling me that it needs to rest. Every day I can be more with myself, recognizing that grief sometimes looks and feels like the flu, and I can give myself permission to just have that quiet. And I can give myself permission to do that cocooning that I need to do when the world feels too loud and too raucous and too uncomfortable.
Yeah. Yeah. This is so amazing. And I want to underscore that, you know, like my choices that I have to, or my behaviors that I'm trying to love, um, I'm sitting back going, it, many of them fall away. Like in this situation, I'm like, do I care? Like if my hair is gray or my eyes are wrinkly, it's like I don't even care. Like, what is the whole point of that? Um, because it's in perspective of my son stabbing his father and then breaking into the neighbor's house. Everything kind of changes. But what's coming up in me right now is okay, it's easy to love the little things that I would like to do differently. And it's easy to forgive those little things. But let's talk about murder. Let's talk about the big things. Like, how can we have a perspective of big versus little? How about these people who are in a marriage and one person is unfaithful and steps out of the vows of intimacy of that relationship? Does that person deserve to be forgiven? Does that person deserve to forgive themselves? So, are, can you feel that the essence of this question? Like, are there things that are unlovable, unforgivable?
Well, this is such a complicated question because
Yes.
every being is different and every situation is different. So, starting with can somebody who is unfaithful in a relationship forgive themselves or be forgiven? They want to start with there is nothing that you can do that is unforgivable, and everything is contextual. And many times people will do the thing that they think their partner will consider unforgivable because they want to end the relationship and they don't know how to have the hard conversation. Or they feel like the other person won't let them go, or it'll just be a, break up, get back together, break up, get back together kind of thing. Maybe that's been that in the past. So oftentimes people will do the unforgivable thing
Mm-hmm.
so that the other person will initiate the breakup and there's a good
Right.
reason for it and there's no going back. So it's the bridge burning approach to ending a relationship often. There are other situations where it's an indication of things that haven't been discussed, resolved, and handled in the relationship. So it can be a cry for help. It can be a cry for attention. It can be a cry for love. There's so many possibilities. But all of those possibilities are when we look at them from higher perspective, not from ground level, where it's very painful and it's very turbulent, and we're not in any way saying it's not, and that the other person shouldn't be hurt or upset. But when the other person is able to look at it from a higher perspective, they can often see, oh, that's what was really going on there.
Mm-hmm.
So like everything that happens in our lives is an invitation to move from ground level to a higher perspective, to ask for divine guidance and divine wisdom, to sit in a question, not an unanswerable question, but a what's really going on here, like an open up to infinite possibilities and divine guidance kind of question. Um, and we've had those kind of questions around what happened with Miguel and with Hector. And do you want to share where we've gone? Do you want to go there here?
Um,
Or do you want to save that for another episode and leave a cliffhanger?
yeah, let's leave it, and I'm gonna be very honest, is that I want to hear you say it. I because um, I feel like I'm still in the process of being able to take it in. It feels very large, beyond my capacity to really comprehend it. And and I guess that I want to be very honest and clear about that, is that um, it's like I'm very human. like I don't like that, like that's just how I feel, is that I feel um, no matter how much work I have done and how much clearing and where I am on this grief journey, I still feel very, very human. And and it takes me layer by layer to revisit the same topic. And I appreciated what you had posted, about the spiral. And I guess that I just want to bring that to the forefront for other moms out there, or anybody else listening, is that we just keep revisiting it, and it's okay, because I'm just very human, and I this is very, very different than the way that I have lived for the first 50 years of my life. And I'm so thankful that the angels and the divine are so patient and so gentle. And yeah, there are times, and I've asked you, Sue, like, can we just get rid of all of this? And she's like, yeah, that'll be a little harsh. And I'm like, okay, we'll just be patient, and we can revisit it 101,000 million times. And that's okay. That's
Yeah.
okay.
So we're just going to take a moment and fill in for people what we mean about the spiral,
Okay.
because this is very much a spiral journey, and I'll share a link to the Facebook post about that
Yeah.
in the description here. Um, so we're on a spiral journey. We're always evolving and growing and becoming more. And so sometimes we circle back around to that same spot, but we're at a higher level in the spiral. So it feels like we're going backwards sometimes, like, oh my God, we're back in that same spot dealing with that same thing again. And we're at a higher level in the spiral. And we will circle back around multiple times to that spot. It's not that we're backsliding. It's not that we're failing. It's not that we can't do it right. It's very much an appreciation to see how far we've come and to see things from a higher perspective and to be at more choice and more choice and more choice. Because when we're at that first ground level time that we go through whatever that thing is, there's massive turbulence at ground level, but what took you out for 5 months or 5 weeks at ground level that first time, when you circle back around, it might only take you out for 5 days. And then when you circle back around, it might only take you out for one day, and then an hour, and then 5 minutes. And then pretty soon you're like, that thing used to really bother me. And now I can totally be with that.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
And so we're not meant to master everything the very first time. We're not meant to go from point A to point Z. It is meant to be a journey. It's not about, Abraham Hicks used to joke about vacation planning. And we're so goal oriented that we're like, okay, so we're going to go here, and then we're going to go there, and then we're going to go there, and then we're going to go there, and then we're going to come home. Well, we're already home. We might as well just check it off. We're done. Don't even need to go on the vacation. It's like, no, 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 no. The whole point is to go on the vacation.
Yeah. Yeah.
And at every point, at every level, so to speak, of that spiral, every circle around, we are able to be in service and be in communion and community and contribution to different people, because different people are on different parts of the journey. Everybody's in their own divine perfect timing. So the people that we can serve when we're way there at ground level and we're all kind of huddled together are different than when we've made one circuit around and a couple circuits around. And not to say that one circuit for you is the same as one circuit for me, like it's
Mm.
all different, but there is divine perfection in the unfolding always. And those who come to us wherever we are on our journey are the ones who are ready for it, is whatever it is that we can impart from what we've learned so far.
Yeah.
So nobody requires us to be masters. You don't need to be a master to share what you've learned. Those who are listening don't need to be a master to share what they've learned. Like, the people who are 1 or 2 or 3 steps behind you on the path are the ones who can benefit from you. You can't reach out a hand to help up the ones who are 100 steps behind you on the path. It doesn't make any sense.
Mhm. Yeah. Well, and I appreciate that, just the personal therapeutic value of being able to do these recordings and to share this journey. Um, but I want to be very clear that I'm still on the journey. And I just happen to be in this situation, especially blessed with you and the relationship that we have of being able to share this out. So I want people to understand that like, I'm not healed. I'm not like perfect. I'm not like done with this. Like, no, like I'm still doing what I'm doing. And you know, I love I love understanding more and more about the spiral and the experience that provides, because it really does resonate with me. And um, I can think of old programming statements like, just get over it. like like I thought you already got help with that. Like, I thought it's almost like, life is like a broken bone. Like, you heal it and you're done with it. And that isn't even really a true program, because once you break a bone in your body, I think everybody would say that you deal with the repercussions of that like the rest of your life, because there was connective tissue damage, nerve damage, you may have bone pain, et cetera, is that we think, or we think that we should just get over it. Like, you you took a pill and you got rid of that pain, and therefore you should never have that pain again. And I used to just dig myself into that hole of, oh, here I am again. And you're not. You're never there again. You're only here, right now. And so when I revisit a topic on my spiral, I almost kind of get happy about that, going, oh, but I've learned things since I addressed it previously. And that's what I used to say, oh, I'm here again, I'm there again. And now I'm like, no, I'm just revisiting this topic. Is there a better word? Is that a word that serves me, to revisit it?
Yeah, I love that word, because it does kind of feel like going back to that place on vacation again. Oh,
Mhm,
I'm revisiting it.
mhm.
Oh, I'm just going back to see how it is now.
Yes.
Oh, how does it feel now? And it feels different.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yay.
So I appreciate all of this, and I don't know. Every day is a new day, right?
And let's just briefly talk about, like, you should be over it, because everything that happens to us in our lives has the potential to profoundly change us, even the most simple things. And this is a really big and complex thing. If this didn't change you in some way, it would be a shock.
Yeah.
Like, this is not something that you're meant to just get over and go back to being the way you were before. Every circumstance and event in our lives, moment by moment, all day, every day, has the potential to help us grow and evolve and become
Yeah.
more compassionate, more open, more available, more unconditionally loving of those on the planet. Everything has the potential to be in service. And so getting over it isn't even close to the point.
No. Yeah. Yeah. And that is really kind of what my one of my heads, one of my voices in my head was saying, is like, just get over it. Like, yeah.
And we can love her too, because she wishes things would just go back to normal. And how many of us have wished things would just go back to normal, except that there was never normal. But
Yeah.
but we understand that
Yeah.
desire, and we can love that aspect of Dolores too, for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
Wasn't this just a bad dream? Aren't we waking up yet? Are we done yet?
Yeah. Are we done yet? Yeah. Yeah. So thank you. I really appreciate this conversation and the blessings of the angels. I feel so much more calm and clear. I think clarity is what is really what I feel calm, peaceful. Yeah. Yeah. Thank you so much.
Oh, I love you.
I love you. Bye, everybody.